Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. The majority of people will live and die without ever tapping into the wealth they were meant to create. Not because they weren't smart enough, not because they didn't have opportunity, but because they didn't understand one simple truth. You don't get wealthy by working harder. You get wealthy by thinking differently. The shift from poverty to prosperity is not a change in your bank account. It's a shift in your mind. The tragedy of the modern world is that people are stuck in mental prisons. They're operating on old beliefs passed down from generations who lived through survival, not abundance. Money doesn't grow on trees, they say. You have to work hard for every penny. And the subconscious eats it up. You were programmed before you even had a choice, and now without knowing it, you're running those programs daily. What you call your personality or reality is nothing more than a set of memorized beliefs replaying themselves in a loop. This is why I always say, if you want to change your results, you have to change your paradigms. A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior. And understand this, almost all of your behavior is habitual. You don't think your way into wealth, you program yourself into it. That's why you can read all the books, attend all the seminars, and still struggle. You've gathered information, but you haven't shifted the paradigm. Real wealth isn't about what you know. It's about what you believe on a subconscious level. Now, how do you change that programming? First, you've got to get emotionally involved with a new idea, an idea so magnetic it begins to burn into your subconscious. That's why I want you to stop merely wishing for success and start expecting it. You must see yourself in possession of the life you desire, even before a single dollar shows up. This is not delusion. This is cause and effect in action. You see, thoughts are energy, but emotionally charged thoughts, that's creative force. When you impress an idea on your subconscious with emotion and repetition, you begin to shift the paradigm. And once the paradigm changes, your behavior changes automatically. You don't have to force it. It becomes effortless. That's why so many people fail at resolutions. They're trying to change from the conscious level, but it doesn't work. You can't override years of conditioning with willpower alone. You have to reprogram the mechanism that's creating your reality. And let's get this clear. Your reality is a mirror of your internal programming. If you're constantly in debt, there's a belief inside you that says, I don't deserve abundance, or I can't manage money. If you sabotage relationships, there's likely a paradigm rooted in unworthiness. The world isn't punishing you, it's reflecting you. Now let's talk about decision. This one word, decision, is where freedom begins. Most people never decide. They hesitate. They procrastinate. They wait for the right time, not realizing that time will never be right. The moment you make a committed decision, the universe begins to shift. The resources, people, and ideas you need begin to appear. But none of that happens if you stay in indecision. Make the decision, then figure it out later. That's how leaders move. That's how wealth is created. And let me say something you may not have heard before. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a compass. When you feel fear, it means you're at the boundary of your current paradigm. You're bumping into the invisible wall of who you've been told you are. So instead of retreating, lean on the other side of fear as freedom. Fear shows up right before a breakthrough. If you're not afraid, you're not growing. People ask me, Bob, how do I know if this is the right path? And I tell them, if it excites you and scares you at the same time, that's your intuition trying to guide you. Follow it. Intuition is the language of the soul. Logic will keep you safe. Intuition will set you free. Most ignore it because it doesn't always make sense. But understand, the life you want exists outside of logic. It exists in the unknown, in the place your five senses can't detect. You have to trust something higher, and that's where universal laws come in. There's a precise order to this universe. You're not living in chaos. You're living in a system governed by law. The law of vibration, the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect. These aren't fantasies. They are forces as real as gravity. When you align with these laws, success becomes inevitable. When you resist them, life feels hard. Most people are pushing against the current. They're trying to force results. But when you work with the laws, you don't chase money. Money is drawn to you. And persistence. A persistence that is the glue. Nothing of greatness was ever built without it. You will be tested, you will be doubted. But if you hold the image, if you stay emotionally involved with your vision long enough, it must manifest. That's not motivation, that's mechanics. The mind moves into form exactly what it holds consistently with belief and emotion. That's the formula. So let me challenge you right now. What do you really want? Not what's practical, not what's realistic, but what sets your soul on fire. That's your vision. That's the signal you were born to send. Stop playing small. Stop living by someone else's limits. You're here to expand. You're here to win. And wealth, real wealth, is just the byproduct of you becoming who you were meant to be. This channel exists to remind you of that truth. Every message here is a frequency designed to disrupt the old and awaken the new. If that resonates, then I urge you to subscribe right now. Not for me, for you. Stay connected to this source. Saturate your mind in wealth, in truth, in power, because repetition is the key, and your time is now. You must understand something critically important. Wealth is not a destination. Wealth is a vibration, a frequency you must match. And the reason most people never reach it is because they keep trying to change the outside without addressing the inside. It's like trying to change your reflection in the mirror without changing your expression. It doesn't work that way. Your outer world is a direct projection of your inner world. Your bank account is a reflection of your beliefs about money. Your relationships mirror your beliefs about love and self-worth. Your health mirrors your beliefs about vitality and wholeness. So when you try to improve your life by focusing on circumstances alone, you're starting at the wrong end. The real work begins inside. And when you start there, the changes on the outside become automatic. Now let me ask you a serious question. What do you believe you are worth? Not what you say with your mouth, but what your behavior shows. Because the truth always leaks out through your actions. You can say you want to be rich, but if you're constantly procrastinating, avoiding risk, doubting yourself, you're not aligned with wealth. You're aligned with survival. Wealth is not earned by hours. Wealth is attracted through alignment. That's what most people don't get. They're still stuck in the old industrial age mindset. Work harder, grind more, suffer longer. But the universe doesn't pay you for how much effort you put in. It responds to how much value you believe you offer. If you don't believe you deserve more, you will unconsciously repel it even when it shows up. That's why so many people sabotage their own success. They get close and then pull back. They get the opportunity and then shrink. Not because they don't want it, but because their paradigm says this isn't safe, or I'm not ready, or this isn't for people like me. So they retreat. And the worst part is they think it's just fate. They never realize it's programming. Now here's the breakthrough. You can reprogram that. You can change the image you hold of yourself. You can literally rebuild the mental blueprint you operate from. But it takes repetition, emotion, and decision. And let me tell you something about decision. It's the most powerful tool you have. Decision closes the door on the past. Decision cuts off all other options. When you decide that you are wealthy, that you are worthy, that you are capable, everything starts to change. Most people are living in hesitation. They say they'll start tomorrow. They wait for a sign. They want guarantees before they leap. But success doesn't work like that. Life only gives you the reward after the leap. You have to act in faith. You have to become the person before the evidence shows up. That's how creation works. Napoleon Hill said it best. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But here's the missing piece. Belief isn't just a thought. It's a state of being. You must live the belief. You must act, think, speak, and carry yourself as if it's already done. And when you do that long enough, your subconscious accepts it as truth. And once that happens, the results change. Every time. This is why affirmations alone aren't enough. You can't just repeat words. You must infuse those words with feeling. Emotion is the language of the subconscious. When you say, I am wealthy, you must feel it in your bones. You must see it, smell it, taste it. That's what reprograms the inner image. That's how you overwrite the old script. Now let's address something most people fear. The reason most people never reach success is because they're afraid to fail. But failure is not the enemy. Failure is the pathway. Show me a wealthy person who's never failed, and I'll show you someone who's never tried. Every successful person you admire has been rejected, doubted, embarrassed, and criticized. But they kept going. That's the key. Persistence is the rarest and most valuable trait you can develop. It's the one that separates dreamers from achievers. And persistence doesn't mean you never feel doubt. It means you move despite the doubt. It means you've decided so strongly that no amount of resistance can shake you. You see, resistance isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign you're getting close. Every time you hit a wall, every time you feel overwhelmed, every time it looks like it's not working, that's the exact moment most people quit. But if you can push one more time, if you can hold the image one more day, if you can believe in yourself when no one else does, That's when the tide turns. And make no mistake, wealth is a tide. It can shift dramatically when you align with the current, but you have to stay in the vibration long enough. You have to keep your mind saturated with truth. And that's exactly why I keep urging you, subscribe to this channel. This is your environment. This is your mental gym. Every message here is designed to realign you with who you really are. You cannot afford to go back to sleep. The world is noisy, full of fear and limitation. But here you're reminded of abundance, power, and infinite potential. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful universal laws, the law of vibration. Everything is energy. Your thoughts, your emotions, your body, your bank account. It's all vibration. And the law says, like attracts like. You cannot attract wealth from a frequency of lack. You cannot attract abundance if you're vibrating with fear. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. So the work is not about chasing money. The work is about becoming the frequency of prosperity. And when you do that, the money comes without resistance. How do you raise your vibration? Through gratitude, through vision, through action. Gratitude tunes you to the frequency of abundance. Vision gives the mind a target. Action moves you into flow. When you combine all three, you become unstoppable. But you must be intentional. You must take control of your input. That means guarding your thoughts. That means choosing your circle. That means filling your mind with messages like this daily. Not once in a while. Not when things go wrong. Every single day. Repetition is the tool of mastery. And your life is worth mastering. So let me ask you again. Who are you becoming? Not who were you. Not who your past says you are. But who are you committed to becoming now? That's the real question. Because identity precedes results. You don't get rich and then act wealthy. You act wealthy and then you get rich. Not through arrogance. Through alignment. Start acting like the person who already has the life you desire. Seek like them. Think like them. Make decisions like them. And if you're wondering how to know who that person is, look at your vision. Your vision is your permission. It's your preview. It's not fantasy, it's a future memory. Hold it long enough and you'll walk right into it. This is the path. And if you're still listening, then you're part of the few. The world is filled with people who will never hear this message. But you're here. You've found it. And that means something. So honor it. Act on it. Subscribe to this frequency. Stay in this current. The new you, the wealthy you is calling. Answer the call.
Let's go deeper now.
Everything you've ever been told about success, wealth, and happiness, question it. Because for most people, what they've been taught has not worked. If conventional wisdom worked, more people would be wealthy. If hustle alone worked, the hardest workers would be the richest. But look around. That's not what we see, is it? You must challenge your current paradigm if you ever expect to break through. Your paradigm is the mental program controlling how you think, how you act, and ultimately what you attract. It governs your behavior far more than conscious thought. And unless you replace the paradigm, you will keep repeating the same results in different disguises. That's why people change jobs but stay broke. Change relationships but keep feeling lonely. Move to new cities but feel stuck again. It's not the job, the city, or the partner, it's the program. And the program is running silently in the background of your life. You can only earn what your paradigm allows. You can only receive what you subconsciously believe you deserve. So if you don't deliberately choose a new paradigm, you unconsciously keep running the old one. And let me tell you, it doesn't care about your goals. It only cares about familiarity. The subconscious is a servant. It doesn't judge or question. It simply repeats what you've impressed upon it. That's why repetition is the key. You cannot just decide to become rich once and expect the change to stick. You must reinforce that decision every single day until it becomes your default setting. Most people want change without consistency. They want breakthrough without discipline. But the universe rewards devotion. The universe rewards those who live in alignment with their higher vision consistently, not occasionally. And let's be clear, you don't need to be perfect, but you must be persistent. Let's talk now about the one force that collapses everything, decision. Every successful person you admire became who they are through decision. Not talent, not luck, but decision. They decided who they were long before the results showed up. They decided to keep going long after others quit. They decided they would succeed or die trying. And that kind of decision bends reality. You see, decision is not about hoping. It's not even about wanting. It's about choosing. And when you choose, you stop entertaining other outcomes. You close the door on retreat. You stop playing small. You stop negotiating with doubt. You decide that you are wealthy. You decide that you are free. You decide that your life will count. And that decision changes everything. Most people live in a loop of hesitation. They tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death. But life is not meant to be survived. Life is meant to be created. And the creator is you. You are the architect. You are the builder. You are the cause. And that's a powerful truth to accept. But with great power comes great responsibility. No more blaming circumstances. No more waiting for the right time. No more blaming the economy, the past, the government, or your upbringing. You are not a victim. You are the victor. You are the force that changes the pattern. Now let's deal with one of the most misunderstood powers in the universe, intuition. Your intuition is not a luxury. It's a survival tool. It is your divine internal GPS. It knows what logic can't explain. It sees what eyes can't see. And it whispers the truth before the facts line up. But here's the tragedy. Most people ignore it. They've been conditioned to dismiss their inner voice, taught to trust facts more than feelings, trained to silence their knowing and follow the crowd. But following the crowd is the fastest path to mediocrity. And if you want to create a life most people never experience, you must do what most people never do. Trust yourself. When your intuition nudges you towards something, even if it makes no sense, honor it. That's your soul trying to guide you. When a vision or idea flashes in your mind, don't dismiss it, capture it. That's how the universe speaks. Your intuitive voice is clearest when your mind is. That's why silence, meditation, and solitude are so powerful. That's why I tell people to step back from noise. You'll never hear your calling if your life is filled with clutter, mental, digital, or emotional. Build a relationship with your intuition. Ask it questions. Write to it. Trust the first answer you feel, not the second one that doubts. The more you listen, the louder it becomes. And when you combine intuition with decision, you become unstoppable. Now let's circle back to a universal law we all must understand, the law of cause and effect. This is the foundational law of the universe. For every cause there is an effect. Every thought is a cause. Every action is a cause. Every feeling is a cause. And the effects always return, multiplied. You cannot plant seeds of fear and reap confidence. You cannot sow resentment and expect joy. You cannot think scarcity and receive abundance. Life gives you back exactly what you put in. No more, no less. So if you want to change the effect, stop chasing outcomes. Start changing your inputs. Change the cause. Change the seed. Because once the seed is changed, the harvest must change. That's not philosophy, that's law. That's why you must take full control of your environment. You can't afford to be passive. Every message you consume, every person you engage with, every thought you entertain, it's all planting seeds. The question is, what are you growing? That's why I always say, subscribe to this channel. Immerse yourself in truth. This isn't entertainment. This is reprogramming. This is your mind gym. This is your sanctuary of clarity. You need this environment more than you know. Most of the world is sowing seeds of fear, doubt, limitation, and distraction. But not here. Here we sow belief. Here we cultivate vision. Here we rewire paradigms and install truth. And the more you expose your mind to this, the faster the transformation becomes. Let me give you one final truth. You are already enough. You don't need to become more valuable. You need to recognize your value. You don't need to earn your worth. You need to remember it. Wealth does not make you worthy. You are worthy. And that is why wealth will come. The game is not about proving anything to the world. It's about aligning with who you already are. That's where your power is. That's where your voice becomes magnetic. That's where your results explode. So what do you do now? You decide. You recommit. You let go of the past. You hold the vision. You walk the path. You trust your intuition. You stay in vibration. You speak only what you wish to see. You take inspired action. And above all, you persist. Never forget. Persistence breaks resistance. Most people quit one step too soon, but not you. You're here for a reason. You've heard this message because you were ready. And now it's your time to rise. If this message has stirred something inside you, don't let it fade. Rewatch it. Take notes and hit that subscribe button. Not for vanity, for victory. Because this channel is not about me. It's about you. It's about your transformation, your freedom, your legacy. Let's walk this path together. You're no longer alone. You found your frequency, and it's time to rise.